Hey everyone, welcome back to Danceplain. I'm Edward.
And I'm Lily.
So, we talk a lot about pushing the limits of, human potential. But what if I told you there was this creature out there that just totally laughs at our puny lifespans?
Yeah.
I mean, we're talking centuries here.
Yeah, it's wild, right? So today we are diving deep into the world of the Greenland shark, which can totally live for almost 400 years. It might be the longest lived vertebrate on Earth.
And not only that, but they just don't seem to get cancer, which is a disease that causes so many problems for other species.
Yeah.
Including us.
Totally. And there's this new genomic study that's finally giving us some clues about how they do it. And this isn't just about sharks, you guys. What we learn from these guys could totally change how we understand aging and disease in humans.
Okay, let's break this down. So for people who don't know much about them, the Greenland shark lives way down in the really cold North Atlantic and Arctic Oceans. And these things are massive. They can grow to be over 6 meters long. Can you imagine being in the water with one of those?
Yeah, no thanks. Haha. But their size isn't the only thing that makes them tough to study. Their genome is gigantic too, and that's made it super hard to, really get a good look at it until now.
So what did this study actually find?
Well, one of the biggest mysteries about these long-lived animals is why they don't get cancer more often. Because, the longer you live, the more your cells divide, and every time they divide, there's a chance for mistakes to happen in your DNA. And those mistakes can cause cancer.
It's a problem called Peto's paradox.
So how do they get around that? I mean, do they have some kind of super immune system or something?
Well, that's part of it. What's really cool is that they've evolved these super efficient DNA repair mechanisms. It's like they have these tiny little mechanics in their cells constantly fixing any damage to their genetic code.
Wait a minute. If their DNA repair is that good, wouldn't that make their cells basically immortal? I mean, are there any downsides to having such a good repair system? That is a great question. And it's something that scientists are still trying to figure out. There could be some trade-offs that we haven't discovered yet, but we do know that they're really good at repairing a specific kind of damage called double-strand breaks, which are really dangerous and can cause cancer.
No, that's a total game changer. Imagine if we could figure out how to do that in humans.
Right. And it's not just about the DNA repair. The study also found that Greenland sharks have multiple copies of certain genes that control this important protein called NF-κB. You can think of NF-κB like this master switch that controls how your body fights inflammation and disease.
So having more copies of this switch gives them an extra advantage.
Yeah, exactly. It probably helps keep their genome stable and contributes to their long lifespans. Yeah. They've basically doubled down on their defenses.
But they don't just live a long time. They live in some of the toughest environments on Earth.
Yeah.
How do they do that?
Well, their environment has definitely shaped how they've evolved in some really interesting ways. For example, let's talk about their vision. They live in the deep ocean where there's not much light.
Yeah, it's pitch black down there.
Exactly. But Greenland sharks have adapted. They have this special eye protein called rhodopsin that lets them see blue light wavelength, which are the wavelengths that can travel the deepest in the ocean. It's like they have built-in night vision goggles.
That is so cool. So we've got incredible DNA repair, a supercharged immune system, and they can see in the dark. What else are we learning from this research?
This is where it gets really exciting. By studying these adaptations, we're getting closer to understanding how aging and disease really work at a fundamental level. And this could help us develop new treatments and therapies that might even let us live longer.
Whoa, that's mind-blowing.
It really is. And it shows us how important it is to study the natural world. I mean, there are so many secrets out there just waiting to be discovered, and they could hold the answers to some of humanity's biggest problems. But we still have a lot to learn.
That's true. For example, what about things besides genetics? I mean, could their slow metabolism or the freezing cold temperatures where they live also play a role in how long they live?
You got it. Those are great questions, and scientists are looking into those things too. Remember, we're just scratching the surface when it comes to understanding the Greenland shark and how it manages to live so long.
This is definitely a deep dive that we're going to keep following closely. But for now, we've got to take a quick break.
Welcome back to Danceplain, everyone. So before the break, we were talking about the Greenland shark and all the amazing things about it, like how it can repair its DNA and how its eyes are adapted for the deep ocean.
It's just wild how they can live in such a crazy environment.
Yeah.
Makes you think, are there other animals out there that can live that long and not get sick?
Oh, yeah, for sure. The animal kingdom is full of cool examples, like the bowhead whale. Have you heard of them? They can live for more than 200 years, and guess what? They don't seem to get cancer either, just like the Greenland shark.
Wow, 200 years. That's insane. So what's their secret? How do they do it?
Well, scientists are still working on all the details, but it seems like their cells are really good at dealing with something called oxidative stress.
Okay. For those of us who didn't take biology, what exactly is oxidative stress?
Okay, so imagine your cells are like tiny little factories, right?
Hmm.
They're always working to keep you alive. But when they do their work, they make these molecules called free radicals. Think of free radicals like little wrecking balls that can mess up the machinery inside your cells, even your DNA. And that damage is what we call oxidative stress.
So it's kind of like when a car starts to rust.
Yeah, that's a good way to think about it. Over time, oxidative stress can make you age faster, and it can cause all sorts of diseases. But bowhead whales, just like the Greenland shark, seem to have figured out how to get rid of those free radicals and keep their cells working perfectly for hundreds of years.
So they've got these like internal antioxidant systems that are going crazy. That's amazing. Are there any animals that live on land that can do this too?
Yeah, definitely. There's this creature called the naked mole rat. And don't let the name fool you. They're actually pretty awesome. They live underground in colonies, and they can live for like 30 years, which is crazy long for a rodent.
30 years. That's like forever for a rat. So what makes them so special?
Well, first of all, they almost never get cancer. And like the Greenland shark, they seem to have really good DNA repair. But they can also handle really low oxygen levels, and they don't get damaged when there's not enough oxygen around.
Oh, hold on. So they can survive in places where there's hardly any oxygen. How is that even possible?
They've basically changed their metabolism so it works even when there's not much oxygen. It's pretty wild.
That's just incredible. Every animal we talked about today is like a superhero. It makes you wonder, is there anything that connects all these animals that live so long?
That's the big question, right? And even though they all do it a little differently, there do seem to be some things they all have in common, like really good DNA repair, strong antioxidant systems, and the ability to handle stress at a cellular level. Those seem to be important for a lot of species that live a long time.
So it's not just one thing, but a bunch of things working together that makes them live so long.
Right, it's like a complicated recipe. You need all the right ingredients to make the perfect dish, or in this case, a really long and healthy life.
This is all so fascinating. It really shows you how powerful evolution is. Like it can create life in ways we never even imagined. But what does all this mean for us humans? Can we learn from these animals and use their secrets to live longer ourselves?
That's the goal, right? And it's something that scientists are working on really hard. We can't just take a shark's DNA and put it into a human, but we can study them and try to understand how it all works.
So we're basically taking notes from nature's playbook.
Exactly. By studying these animals, we're learning more about how aging and disease resistance actually work. And that knowledge could help us create new medicines, therapies, and even figure out ways to change our lifestyle so we can all live longer and healthier lives.
It's like we're looking for the fountain of youth. But instead of a magical spring, we're looking for answers in the DNA of these amazing animals.
That's a great way to put it. And even though the fountain of youth might not be real, the search for a longer, healthier life is definitely real. And by looking at the natural world, we're getting closer to figuring out how to do it.
It's just amazing to think that these animals might actually have like the answers to some of the biggest health problems we have.
I know, right? And it just shows you that there's so much we can learn from nature. It's like a whole library of knowledge just waiting for us to discover it.
So for our listeners out there who are like totally hooked on this stuff, where can they go to find out more about this research and the whole idea of living longer?
Well, there's some really cool places to start. Like you could check out the websites of some of the research groups that are doing the most cutting edge work on aging, like the Buck Institute for Research on Aging or the SENS Research Foundation. Those guys are doing some seriously amazing stuff.
Yeah, those are great resources.
Yeah.
We'll make sure to put links to them in the show notes for this episode.
And of course, there are tons of books and articles out there that go really deep into the science of aging and longevity. Just do a quick search online and you'll find a whole world of information.
This deep dive has been such a wild ride. We've learned so much about these animals that live crazy long lives, like the Greenland shark, the bowhead whale, and the naked mole rat.
It's been mind-blowing.
I know, right?
Really?
It makes you appreciate just how diverse life on Earth is and how evolution can come up with solutions to problems that we humans are still struggling with.
I think one of the most important things I've learned from this is that aging doesn't have to be this like inevitable downhill slide. It's a process that we might be able to change through the choices we make, the medicine we develop, and maybe even genetic engineering in the future.
That's a really powerful idea. It gives us hope that we can take control of how we age and live longer, healthier lives.
Totally. And who knows what other breakthroughs are just around the corner. The future of longevity research is so exciting. I can't wait to see what we discover next.
Well, on that note, we've come to the end of our deep dive into the world of extreme longevity. We hope you've enjoyed the journey as much as we have.
And remember, this is just the tip of the iceberg. There's so much more out there to explore.
If you're ready to keep exploring, be sure to visit us at www.dansplain.xyz. That's where you'll find more deep dives, articles, products, and a whole community of curious people just like you.
We're always adding new stuff to the website with the latest discoveries and insights, so make sure you check back often. We can't wait to see you there.
Thanks for listening, everyone.